Hi, this is Chris from Clever Unicorn Games and the Unicorn Collective back with another one of our interviews. Today we have Chris Backe with us. He is a games designer, traveler, and digital nomad. Hi, Chris. How you doing today?
Hello, Chris. How you been, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad. We'll go straight into these questions. What is it that you like to do? And I know traveling is going to be a big part of this when you are not board gaming.
Oh, wow. Okay, like you said, I'm a digital nomad. That's a fancy way of saying my wife and I we work, we travel, we play, and we tend to do this in about 4 countries a year. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Right now, things are a little up in the air. As we record this, the coronavirus is in full bloom. Um, but when in my spare time, I very much just enjoy walking around, taking photos. I've got a decent Nikon DSLR, so getting fancy with the camera. Um, Sometimes just people watching can be kind of fun. Find a park, sit down somewhere. Um, I'm a big fan of the Jurassic World Alive game. It's like the Pokemon Go spin-off. Not the same thing, but Pokemon Go in the Jurassic World universe.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love dinosaurs, so it's great seeing them, having them in your garden and sitting. Or as one
Oh
time, I
yeah,
had one sitting next to my sister in a beer tent. It was funny.
nice.
So I interrupted you there. Sorry,
Oh, yeah,
I
sorry.
interrupted your frame of thought.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, spare time has been, yeah, so between, traveling and game design have really been the things that take up a lot of my time now. When I'm taking a break from that, it's usually going to be over on Mario Maker, over on the Switch, and we're in co-op quests of Cat Quest 2, and yoga. Every other day, my wife and I do a little yoga together.
And currently, you're in Poland.
Yep, Warsaw, Poland, or as the locals like to say, Warszawa, which is a reminder that Polish and English can have almost the same word and pronounced it two very different ways. It's amazing.
Yeah, I have a game called Capital, which is based in Warsaw,
Oh, nice.
which was made by
You
Garana
ever been?
Games, which I think is from there as well.
Yeah.
No, I've never been. I've been very few places. I'm not a traveler. I'm the opposite.
Oh,
I don't tend to get around. The outside world
hey
scares
man.
me.
Oh, no worries. No, actually, in all fairness, a lot of times when people talk about becoming a digital nomad, they're like, "Oh, well, if I move away, what happens to all my friends and family?" Look, you know what Skype is? We're talking on Discord right now. If there's anything you've learned in the past couple of months of coronavirus stuff, is that you can still have wonderful, meaningful relations and connections. And as a bonus, now because they're all online as well, it's easier to connect with them in this format versus going, oh no, I only meet with people at coffee shops on Thursdays. No, 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 no. We're all online now. So you want to talk to someone, send them a PM or whatever. Hey, are you online? Let's jump on. You know, drink your coffee, shoot the breeze, play a game, whatever.
Let's go on to games then. So, what would you say is your favorite game? The one favorite game?
Oh man. Oh, that's like asking which one's your favorite child. I have two. I have two that I will probably never turn down. Number one is Sushi Go. Classic card drafting game, very simple to learn. I really like what they did with the party expansion, which beyond just making it more players, makes a lot more variety in the cards. The rules give you like 4 or 5 different setups depending on what kind of game you want to play. And of course, you can make a more customized sort of game if you want. Something more strategic, something more take that. You can really build it to the flavor of the audience. My other big favorite is Champions of Midgard. Um, Meaty midweight game. Seemed like he came out of nowhere, but they did a spectacular job with that game, really giving the player feeling like there's lots of options. There's lots of things you can do in your turn, and all of it helps, but some of it will help you a little bit more. Some of it will block someone else out. Blocking the troll is a classic strategy for some folks. Uh, Maybe never going for it, but blocking it out, taking it anyways. Um,
Giving out that shame.
yeah, so those are two of my favorites that I own.
Yeah, I played Reavers recently, and I think I
Okay,
prefer it a little. I really liked
okay.
Reavers a bit. I did love Champions of Midgard, especially with the Valhalla
Mhm.
expansion. I thought that added quite a lot.
Yeah,
But then I
the
played
Valhalla
Reavers,
expansion really.
and
Mhm.
Reavers was, yeah,
Yeah.
Reavers was a surprise. It was even better, I thought.
Okay, I have not had a chance to play Reavers yet. That opinion may change once we do here, but yeah, the Valhalla expansion. I was a little bit concerned because as the last time I played it, they were setting it up, and the Champions of Midgard board is already pretty big, and then the Valhalla expansion just adds this extra little thing. And you're like, are we gonna fit all this on the table? Do we need a bigger table?
When you design a
It all
game,
fits. So yeah.
when you come to design a game, what inspiration? Well, say you one of the ones you've designed before. What game inspired you to create one of your games?
Not sure I have a specific game that's really inspired another game.
What about a
I definitely
genre?
know that a genre. Probably a deck builder. You look at something like Dominion that really started the world of deck building. I've played a ton of Star Realms, both in person and on my tablet. Um, so understanding how deck builders work has helped me to develop a deck builder of my own. On one level, you're understanding the thematic ties. So in Star Realms, you've got the two ships. One brings you coin, one gives you battle power. And one of the first things I want to do, I want to trash that crappy battle power, and then like how you thin a deck in a deck build. You're always trying to make the deck bigger and better and stronger. And those wimpy one battle cards just they're the first to go every time I play. So one element I took from that is I wanted to make a more interesting decision. Why do I let this card go? I should not have a card that is just the default card every time I play. I should always be looking at my hand of cards and going, okay, of these cards, I'm allowed to trash one. Which one of these should I trash? Because maybe they have multiple uses. You turn it sideways, it becomes a different sort of card, or something else that can be used in different ways. Um, I later evolved that into the more current version of a game called The Next Great American Novel, which is a deck builder about writing a book. There's no trashing in this game. It's a deck builder with no trashing. You go, how the heck is that going to work? In the game, you're writing novels, you're building a novel with different cards from your hand. So when you go to put a card into your novel, it leaves your deck permanently. So you might want to keep this really good card in your hand because it gives you a really special action. But if you put it in your novel, it'll help you score points. Cards in your deck in your hand at the end of the game score nothing. Cards in your novel are the only ones that score points. So when is the right time to make this transition, or do you make this transition?
That's a really novel idea. That is that on Tabletop Simulator?
I'm actually working on getting it online right now. By the time this goes live, it might well be.
That'd be worth giving a go. I'd be interested to have a play.
Yeah.
When coming up with a game, so when you decide, oh, I'm going to make this game, where do you start?
Okay. Um, it's kind of come from both sides. There's always the classic which one's the first mechanics theme. I've come at it from both sides. Um, one of my games is called Pirate Grannies. It is a game where the grannies are pirates or they've been kidnapped by pirates. It's when it was just started by a conversation with my mother-in-law. I don't remember how it got started, but you know how it is. You're just talking to people, you're riffing off of things, and then you get an idea, and you go, hang on. Did you say pirate grannies? There's a game in that." So a couple weeks later, it became a very gateway worker placement game. You're moving your one granny around the ship to collect resources and skills and things like that. So from the thematic side, that happens. From the mechanic side, sometimes it starts because you're screwing around with cards and dice or whatever other components you have on hand. I was at a toy store maybe a year and a half ago, and actually, let me find it here. Show off an early
Oh,
prototype here, behind the
he's
scenes
got
sort of
props.
thing.
He's got props.
I've always got props. So this is one of those plastic cubes, and in the store, each one of these different sides is a different piece of a puzzle. So you make like six different puzzles. This is a plastic cube, 4 centimeters square or cubed. And what I'm doing with this game is kind of a maze finding game. You're trying to find the gems, and along the way, you're rotating cubes such that you can connect them according to which gem you're trying to find, which paths you're trying to block, things like that. So each gem has one big cube on it, and then if you see a smaller gem like this, that tells you that the gem you're looking for is being if you rotate it this way, like that.
And that just came
So
from finding a toy in a toy shop that looked similar.
pretty much. It started because I was looking at the puzzles and going, these are basically big dice. You could write a big number one on this side, a big number two on this side, whatever. But I thought, well, if they're going to be that big, what else can you do with them? And right around this time, I'm playing Carcassonne, classic path creating tile laying game. And so the question was, well, what if the tiles were cubes? So it's instead of it just being like a flip back and forth or a placement sort of thing, now you got to factor in rotating or flipping. And I'm going to have to work on this nomenclature a lot because rotating should just mean keep the same top, spin it, and then rotate to a different side. So
I think there's probably a word for it, but I don't know what it is.
yeah, I'd probably just have to say spin. I think when you think spin, you don't think change the top face. You think spin it on its axis or whatever. So I'll
To
probably
just
have to keep spin and rotate for that
select a
game.
side or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, so games wise, have you ever played a game? Now we're not naming them, so you don't need to name it. But is there any games you've played that you've not liked at all? And what was it? What was the mechanic or the thing about the game that literally just made you think, no, not for me?
Okay. There are two. One will remain nameless, and one is a fairly popular thing to kind of hate on. I did not get Munchkin. I've played it. I have in the first time I played it, I enjoyed it because I will neither confirm nor deny that I was slightly intoxicated at the time. I was also not playing this with serious gamers. It's if you've played Munchkin, it's a light card game. It's very much take that. It should have the dictionary entry for take that sort of games. And because we were all playing in good spirits, and again, neither confirming nor denying, slightly intoxicated, um, it just makes all the humor in the game come out. I played it again with a more serious group of gamers, stone cold sober, and was like, why is this fun? I'm sorry, but everything I'm doing in this game is just I'm trying to hurt someone else, and that's not the kind of game I like to play.
I will agree
So
on the
yeah,
Munchkin thing. In that, yes, the base game I find it a little bit tedious sometimes. I mean, if you have a short game, then it can be enjoyable. But the problem with the game is that there's so much take that it can actually take 3 or 4 hours if you're going backwards and forwards too much. Now,
exactly,
I will
exactly.
say though that some of the themed ones, there's an adventure to, the cartoon Adventure Time.
Yeah,
There is an Adventure Time themed game of Munchkin, and they have done something with the rules. I can't say exactly what, because it's been a while since I played it, but I played a couple of times because I got it for my son, and it was a lot more balanced and it was a lot quicker.
nice.
And yeah,
Okay,
and that one I enjoyed. So there is something in Munchkin to be had fun with. But again, it's like you
okay,
say, it's
yeah,
one of
that's
those
fair.
where I can understand completely. I don't drink, but I can understand why, if you were drunk, because I did used to drink, um, why you would have more fun with it.
Oh yeah, yeah. So the other game, which will remain nameless, was one that was in playtesting, and it was presented as a very simple sort of variant of a classic card game. And there was some battling in it, there was some card placement in it, and every time we were being kind of taught the rules, myself and another person were being taught by the designer. Every time we were trying to do something, the designer was saying, "Oh no, you can't do that," or "You shouldn't do that," or "Let me explain a better strategy for you here." And I'm going, do you want us to play test the game, or do you want us to just kind of monkey around with this? That's less about the game and more about how the designer was trying to control the experience. But um, Yeah,
Yes.
but whenever
Sometimes the
every
best
time
thing
we
you can do
played,
it. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just give them the rule book and step back and just say, yeah, just play it. Yeah,
exactly,
you don't want to be
exactly.
that guy.
Uh, well, what also happened was every time we chart, there was, I think, if I understood the game right, there were two types of battles. The issue was that every time we tried one of these types of battles, um, I never knew if I was doing it right. So I was kind of starting to move this piece into position and then go, and then there's that uncomfortable pregnant pause where you, did I do that right? I'm kind of waiting for the developer to come in and get, no, actually, it's supposed to be like this, or you're supposed to use this card instead of that card. Because the rules just felt like they were changing, like like a Calvin ball sort of game. So not a great experience. I'm hoping that the feedback I gave that designer was a learning experience that when you're playtesting a game, you need to step back and let people play it as they see it. When they do that, you learn how other people will play your game, how to approach your game. And it doesn't have to be truly blind playtesting because you can still kind of step in and guide people if necessary to prevent it from going totally off the rails. But you do need to allow for your game to break, to make mistakes, and when you know that, it's a lot easier to fix it.
Why is it that you make games? What is it that drives you to make games for
Oh
people to play?
man, um, I think I'm gonna have to go back to when I was 12 because I was 12 when I made my first game. Um, I wanted to make a game because I wanted to have fun. I wanted to see people have fun. Um, I do kind of like being the center of attention sometimes. I do very much enjoy being uh, the person that brings awesome stuff to life. Um, so I think it does kind of derive from that. Um, when I first learned that people were not just thinking of board game design as a hobby, but as a profession, I thought, okay, that sounds like it could be fun. You know, there's a lot more work that goes into full time designer, as I'm sure you know. Uh, but I am still having fun with it. I'm still very much enjoying the time I spend. Um, even stuff like researching 17th century pirate ships, because you want to have some thematically accurate stuff. If you're going to make a game about pirates, it's got to be at least somewhat accurate. So even stuff like researching esoteria online or mathematically computing like your chances of this thing happening versus this thing happening. I do it because it's fun.
How is the world? Well, here's a big one for you. How has the world and what's happening in it at the moment affected the way you design games?
Oh man. Okay, so as a nomad, my life is often changing every few months. So I would submit that we were both pretty ready to pivot, if you will. My life has changed because obviously now we're all indoors. The usual playtesting groups I have here in Warsaw obviously aren't meeting as they used to. As part of that lemonade out of lemons sort of thought, I have tried to join just about every virtual playtesting group I can. Um, I bought the domain name virtualplaytesting.com. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. I'm picturing some sort of central platform where people can talk about playtesting because right now it's kind of fractured. You've got the Reddit groups, you've got the Discord stuff, you have a lot of the playtesting groups that have moved their meetings online, but it's all really fragmented. It's almost like you need someone to kind of give you an in. And I'm hoping that if there's one central place where everyone can feel like they can go, they can learn how to put their game on Tabletop Simulator. They can learn if some of the other options might be a better fit for their first game before investing in Tabletop Simulator. There are free programs you can create your game and play it in the browser. And those can be a lot more approachable for someone that's just kind of dipping their toe into the water here. So um, it's changed a little bit how I work in that I don't have the cycle of develop and then go to a playtest meeting as much as I used to. Now it's more of a I need to get this game into a virtual setting where I can play with the people. And then once the playtest happens, then I kind of go back, take the paper prototype, figure stuff out there, re-upload the changes to the virtual version, and then playtest again.
Yeah, it really. I mean, up until a few weeks ago, I've had Tabletop Simulator on Steam for a long time, but I never really used it. And then a couple of weeks ago, when I was thinking about the designer playtesting idea, I was like, well, let's give this a go. And I had no idea, one, how many games were on there. It's just like nearly every game
Oh
you can
yeah.
think of are on there. But also, I didn't realize how easy it was actually to upload assets to it. I mean, scripting
Hmm.
and making things happen automatically, that's quite difficult, and I'm starting to learn some of that now. But the actual uploading of the assets is basically you just upload the asset that you have, which you already will
Hmm.
have on your computer from making it, from printing it out. It's very easy to get it on there. And I don't think people realize that, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just an empty table, and you're just basically loading up assets is basically you just taking those parts of the game and putting them on this virtual table.
I think what sometimes has what hasn't really helped me personally as I've been trying to upload games into the virtual space has been a lack of an updated uh I don't want to say unofficial, but a lot of the tabletop simulator tutorials are from 2015 when the program first launched. Some of that stuff is still fine. It can still give you the 10,000 overview of a thing. What it can't do is, okay, so to do this thing, you want to click this button, then this button, and you're looking at the new version now, and you're going, that button's not there. So, there's stuff like that. There's also things like, so you upload a page of cards, and usually you'll have if you're doing like poker size cards, you've got a 3 by 3 grid. Okay, that's simple enough. When you understand why it's asking width and height when you're uploading an asset, how
Yeah.
many cards, there is a method behind the madness. And like I say, when I do web development for some clients, when you understand that method, it won't seem so mad. So when you understand why it's asking these things and what it expects from you, you can then learn to expect what it will spit out back at you. Because the first time you see a card, it's like 50% of one card, 50% of another card, and you go, okay, I split that wrong. There should be 3 cards in this row instead of 4, or whatever. You know. But the good news about Tabletop Simulator virtual playtesting, you'll make that mistake. It's going to happen to everyone. It's going to be in private. Once you figure out what is the problem, you can hit backspace and then try again. You have wasted maybe 15 seconds of time.
Yep.
And that's
Understood.
just like it is with the other playtesting.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's right. Because I mean, I know from when we were in the office and we were printing stuff out with the big printer, you're always conscious about the ink. Because when you've got a big
Yeah,
plotter like the one that we've got in there, you're conscious of how much ink it's using every time you print it. And I've done things where I've printed it out and it's been wrong, and you just kick yourself. Whereas when it's virtual, yeah, it's a
yeah.
case of, oh well, I'll just go back and change that a little bit.
So funny story. Because of printing and ink is a thing, one of my games, this is the card. Very simple, very basic. The version I put on Tabletop Simulator, which is actually up now, is full color, full bleed, if you will. Pictures sourced from the Met's public domain art collection, the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. They have an outstanding public domain collection of the art from millennia. So if you can use it, it's public domain, it's CC0. Um, and other museums have done the same thing. So stuff I would print because it's very ink heavy is now very easy to show and brings a lot more life to a game in Tabletop Simulator. So my game looks better online than it does IRL right now.
That's amazing. We'll have to. What I'll do is to get a link for that for the video for
Yeah.
when I'll put it up so that people can go on there. Because having um, artwork to use for this sort of thing, just for prototyping, that is tabletop simulator. It's so easy to just put an image up there. It's there's
Mhm.
no reason really for you not to just go find some free art and just stick it up there.
Exactly.
Okay, finally, what piece of advice would you give to somebody who's got an idea for a game and they're thinking, I think I'm going to go a bit further with this. What advice would you give to somebody thinking of designing a game?
Okay, so I'll actually frame this as the video message to myself from about 3 years ago when I first started taking this seriously, and it would go something like this. It would be, "Hey, making games is awesome. Be cool with it. Have fun with it. You need to like your game should be fun. Above all everything else, all other considerations, make sure people are having fun. That is question number 0 to ask people. Is it fun? Are they having fun? And you'll know this by are they paying attention to their phone? Are they constantly asking questions? Questions are often indications of interest. Um, your game is never as simple as you think it is. It is never as simple as you think it is. You might think draw a card into your hand is the most basic thing. Sometimes, but now, well, do I hold that face up in my hand? Do I hold it face out? Do I put it in my hand or my tableau? There's a lot of permutation for something as simple as draw a card. And if there's lots of permutations for that, imagine how many permutations there are when it says put a meeple somewhere or put two blue cubes somewhere. So be crystal clear in your directions. Try to playtest with the broadest, most diverse group of people you can. Men, women, anything in between, rich, poor, old, young, Republican, Democrat, just the widest variety of people you can, because that will give you the broadest array of feedback that you can then use to make your game even better. Um, you also want to be reminding yourself of color blindness. Color blindness is a thing. I am not colorblind, but it's something that 8% of men are. So the easiest way I found to work around that is to double code stuff. And what I mean by that is that one of two pieces that are color only might be difficult to tell for someone that's colorblind. So this one has an X on it. This one has an O on it. Or this piece is a square. This piece is a circle. So color is one element of things to tell apart these two pieces, but it should not be the only element. And I guess the last piece of advice I would say is to continue to connect with people. That can be virtually, that can be in the real space, it can be wherever you can meet people. But continue to connect with new people. Avoid the temptation to have your game group be static or stale or the same four guys that show up every week. Continue to reach out and continue to make new people feel welcome in your community wherever it is.
Brilliant. That's been eye-opening, Chris. That really has. And thank you
Thank you.
so much for coming and speaking to me today.
Thanks so much, Chris.